sure we let out a few cackles last night.
I was a horrible human in the past, and now I lick my own bum. Yeah. That we're like, quick, no one will look under our skirts. When you see a witch, even in a cartoon, like a kid's cartoon, what are they doing?
They're standing over a cauldron with green skin and a wart on their nose.
And they're laughing and having a great time with their friends.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with Georgia and we are going to be doing another Bestie book talk. And today we're going to be talking about Old Souls by Tom Shroder. This is going to be a little bit of a different kind of Bestie book talk. This book is nonfiction, so this is the first nonfiction read that we've ever read for this little segment. And it is a book about reincarnation. So it basically talks about different people's experiences with reincarnation. And basically, I think this is kind of going to turn into more of just a discussion on reincarnation in general and kind of our beliefs. And after reading the book, kind of what we think about our beliefs about the subject. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. It's not necessarily going to be a huge book review. We will talk about the book, but neither one of us really cared for the book, first of all.
I think because we're so used to that to fiction and fantasy that this was, I don't know, maybe it was the way it was, whatever, books. I don't know where I was going with that.
To me, I felt the book was really dry. I was really excited to pick up this book because I truly believe in the idea of reincarnation, and I was really excited to pick up a book that supposedly offered evidence of that. Like it says on the cover, compelling evidence from children who remember past lives, and I believe that was in here.
Yeah.
But it was written really, really dryly.
Dryish?
Dry? Written really dry? I don't
It was dry.
Yeah.
Like, and I thought because Tom is, he used to work for, was it like a newspaper writing articles, that I thought it would have a little bit more pizzazz, more grab, just because, you know, normally in an article you only have so many words to grab your reader,
right,
and you want them to read. So yeah, I was disappointed that it, like, this, out of all the books that we've read for our Bestie book talks, that's the one that took the longest for me to actually finish. Like, actually, that's not true. That other one was horrible too.
Yeah, this one was the reason, I think, for my 3-month reading slump. Because I was reading this and I knew anytime I wanted to read I had to pick up this and I didn't want to.
Nah.
So I went through 3 months where I didn't read anything because I didn't want to freaking read this.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that won't start another book until I finish or decide that I'm not going to read it, right? But I knew I had to read it.
Yeah, assignment.
I think it was mostly it was a lot of description about the areas that they were going to. So they went into the Middle East, right? That's where they ended up going. I can't even remember, right?
India and whatnot.
Yeah, so they went into the Middle East and they were meeting up with a bunch of children who supposedly remembers their past lives. And a lot of that evidence, the things these children were remembering and what they were able to go back afterwards and figure out.
And check, double check.
And, fact check and whatnot to see if these individuals actually existed and how they actually died, if it was, if it corroborated their story. And so I really do believe that they accomplished that, but they just really went into a lot of detail about the areas that they were in, which I felt had nothing to do with the past lives themselves. They were talking about the little towns and they would describe the little town that they were in and people that lived there and just the land description and stuff like that. And I'm like, why am I reading about this? I don't care where this child lives, what her house looks like and what her, her town looks like. I care about what's going on with her past life, if that makes sense.
How she remembered, how they were able to try to track down her previous life, and or if her stories would corroborate, you know. And that's it was just a really dry read.
Yeah.
It wasn't exciting. I was excited to start reading it too, and then I was like,
it's boring.
And then Elmer,
the parts where they actually did talk about the past lives were interesting, but I mean, I think over half the book was just description of the places that they were. So I definitely don't really recommend reading this book. I mean, unless you're gonna just kind of skim through it and just talk about or just read the parts that are actually interesting. But Yeah, so I probably would have given it a 1 or 2 stars. Probably a 1.
Yeah, me
Maybe
too.
a 2. Yeah.
I don't know if it was worth the read.
Yeah.
No.
Especially like when there's so much information out there now on past lives. Like there's so much information about it. There's even like tons of YouTube channels that talk about it. Like I shared that one podcast with you last time that you were here. Like Mile Higher podcast. They did a few episodes about reincarnation and just so many interesting theories about what happens after you die. Like I personally really believe in reincarnation. Like I think that that's what the ticket is. And the ticket. That's what the ticket is.
Ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over? In your past life, you know, the ticket.
I'm done. I'm going to bed. Over.
The snow.
Yeah, let's just blame the snow.
Yeah, the snow.
Another theory that kind of has been coming up that I've been seeing lately in watching stuff, because I watch a ton of stuff on YouTube about stuff like that. I'm always so interested in all that kind of stuff. And one theory that's been coming up that I've been hearing a lot lately, and this is really interesting because I believe this theory, and I had this theory when I was a kid, and I'll explain that in a second. But the theory is that, so you're set up, like you're your celestial being, whatever, your soul is wherever, I don't know where.
Floating around, hanging out, okay?
Yeah. And you are reincarnated, but you plan your life out before you get here in order to teach yourself the lesson. Like the reason why you keep getting reincarnated is to teach yourself different lessons. And then I don't know what happens at the very end when you're learned all the lessons that you need to learn, like you just go to heaven, is what I believe. I don't know. But when I was a kid, and I remember this, and I would have been about, I think I was maybe around 7 years old, and I remember having this conversation with my mom. I remember it clearly. I should see if she remembers it. But I said to her that, Mom, I think that I'm going to have a good life because I think that before I came here, that I decided you were going to be my mom. And I decided what was going to happen in my life. I told her that. As a child, I had this conversation with her.
Huh.
And my mom was like, well, I don't know if that's really how it works, because what about people that have bad lives? Why would they choose to have bad things happen to them? So I don't know that that's really how it works. And
depending on the lesson you wanted to learn. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, and as a kid, I was just like, oh, okay, But I remember having that conversation with her, and where would I get that from at such a young age?
Yeah.
For me to randomly say that to my mom. Mom, I think I planned my life out before I got here, and I planned you were going to be my mom.
That's what I thought too, Priya.
What do you think? What do you think about reincarnation? So, I don't know. That's kind of like, I've kind of always thought that. And then now, like as an adult, I've, researched this kind of stuff. And that is an actual theory that people have, that's what happens. And I'm like, how interesting is it that that's a real theory?
Hi.
Why does she love you so much?
I'm the devil.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if she did have her ass in my face earlier today. I'm like, bum.
Can you get down? Thank you.
I want to be in the video too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the phrase "old souls" has been something that's very recurring in my life. When I was younger, my mom would go for coffee with her girlfriend. She'd of course bring me along because where do you bring your kid?
Yeah.
And 3-year-old Georgia just sits there like.
Yeah.
I was just always a quiet, calm child. And my mom's friend and her would talk about whatever they were talking about. And then one day, I guess she told my mom, was like, can she hear us?
Is she okay?
No, but is she listening to everything we say?
Yeah.
Is she taking it all in? And my mom's like, nah, she doesn't have a clue. And she's like, but she's like,
it seems like she's listening.
She's 3 going on 40. She's listening to us and understands what we're talking about. My mom's like, no. And then that was a recurring thing. I was 4 going on 40. I'm old. Yeah. And I've always felt old.
Me too.
And my young friends, even in high school, and they're all like, let's do this. I'm like, that seems dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always been the same way. Yeah.
Where I feel like I'm babysitting sometimes. And they're people my own age. And I was a teenager at that time. And I'm like, that's not safe, you guys.
Yeah. let's not.
Let me hold your hand, okay?
Yeah.
But even like when I hit 30, I was like, I'm only here now?
Yeah.
What
What's
is
going on?
Jeez. So now that I'm closer to 40, I'm like, okay, I've been 40 my whole life.
Yeah.
I just felt really old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Experienced.
Yeah.
Does it sound conceited that I feel like that is part of why my attitude is the way it is?
I don't think so.
That I'm like, no, I've done this before. You guys are wasting my time.
Yeah.
Ugh, you know?
Yeah. No, I identify with that as well. I agree. And I have felt like that as well. And I don't know. I just feel like that's what happens. Like you carry over as much as you can without remembering experiences from your past lives, and it shapes who you are today. I don't know. I just think that's what really happens.
And I think maybe the reason why most of us don't remember is so that we do learn these lessons, right? Because if you went in knowing, okay, this time I gotta learn how to be more humble,
right?
Or I gotta learn how to be more respectful, or whatever it is, then you're already going in it with that pre-knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowing you need to learn said lesson.
Yeah.
Whereas because we don't remember, and then maybe, your soul gets back to the home plate.
Yeah.
And it goes, shit.
Yeah, I gotta do this again. Well, yeah.
I didn't actually learn my lesson.
Yeah.
Let's try this again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I think happens. I don't know, I don't know. That's just something that I've always kind of felt like. And I still, my dad was Christian and grew up with Christian beliefs. And I still, have those. It's almost like I kind of mesh things together a little bit in my what I actually believe. And I don't know. I still believe in, a God. I still believe in that. But I believe it's more of, I don't know. I believe it's more of, maybe you work with God to learn your lesson. But then also it's well, why do we need to learn all these lessons? And why? I don't know. See, that's the whole. I mean, you nobody can ever know, right? Until you die, then you'll know.
But will
supposedly? I mean, who knows?
Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
That's the great debate.
Yeah.
But it's your perspective. I also, I'm not Catholic, but I went to Catholic school, and we went to church a lot, and I don't know if I ever really believed in God. And I think that's part of me being that old soul where I was like, you can't tell me what to do. And so when people ask me, are you religious? I'm like, you know what? I believe in me.
Yeah.
Because only I can make my choices. Only I can choose to do what I do and my behaviors and stuff. And I only have myself to answer to for my behavior as well. I mean, the law and whatnot. But,
right.
in general life. But, so I was like, no, I believe in me. I don't think that if it's too vague to have a higher power. Is the higher power controlled by another higher power?
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Why is there one top of everything?
I think when you really start thinking about space and how they say that space is all expansive, it just expands forever and it never ever 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 ends. My mind can't wrap around that. What do you mean it never ever 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 ends? At some point it has to, doesn't it? It's just so weird to think.
No, because it's ever changing.
But I just can't.
Well, think of it like the souls.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. The theory is that we have to learn our lesson, whatever lesson that is this time around. Right. And if we go back to the starting point and go, well, poop, we got to do this one again. Right. But we're ever changing and learning, and maybe whatever we learned or didn't learn in this life, and that we're supposed to learn again, actually turns into a different lesson. So we grow and develop and change. Is there an end? Can you ever stop learning?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just keep coming back forever. I don't know. See, my my gut feeling just tells me eventually that there is a heaven, and that once you learn your lessons, whatever they are, that you will eventually ascend there. I don't know.
I like the idea of reincarnation, and I like the idea of God and heaven and stuff like that. but I don't feel
that they go together
or as confident about it. It's strange. I feel like this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yet heaven and God is not the same level of. Maybe it's because I feel like my soul has kind of been through the rat race a couple of times.
Yeah.
Whereas I have never really experienced God.
Right. Yeah.
Even though, Catholic school and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think that's part of it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think everybody just has their own. I think everybody, when they really sit down and think about what they think happens after we die, everybody has their own gut instinct about what that is. You know what I mean? And that's just like, that's what your kind of gut tells you. And mine tells me the same, but mine tells me that there is a God too. So it kind of wants to mesh those two ideals together. I don't know.
So what if it was, there is no heaven, but the end, when you learn your lesson, is that you end up getting to live happy lives.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe.
You finally learned all your lessons, you seem like a well-rounded soul, then you get born into a wealthy, happy, safe family.
Yeah.
And you get to enjoy that life.
Also, too, is where do new souls come from? Because, I mean, look at our population now compared to what it was 500 years ago.
Yeah.
There has to be new souls.
Even
right?
100 years ago.
Yeah. So where do new souls come from? Like, that's the thing, too.
That makes it seem like the world started with two souls, and they're like, oh, shit, it's just the two of us?
Yeah.
How
does
we
a new one get created? Like, it's just so interesting to think about. And also, the other topic that you and I have discussed before, but the fact that they say, like, a lot of times with reincarnation that maybe other people that you have in your life, you've had in past lives before. Like, maybe we were, like, friends in another life, or maybe, like, you were my mom or something in another life. Like, who knows, right? Like, but you end up gravitating and naturally finding people that you have always known. That's why, like, lots of times people, like, with their spouses or whatever, they'll, meet them and be like, I feel like I've known you a lot longer than, their first date or whatever,
Yeah. Well, I mean, with my husband, we dated for a very short time, and then he broke up with me.
Rude.
I was not impressed. And I phoned my friend Vanessa, and she, I was telling her about it, and I was crying, and you guys don't know me, but I don't do that.
Yeah.
And even she was like, are you crying right
now? Are you okay?
And I was like, yeah, this is wrong. He made a mistake. And it's like, I wasn't big into boys. I didn't have, I mean, I was, but I didn't have lots of boyfriends at that time. I didn't have, like, this huge relationship or anything. He and I had only been together for a month, barely.
Yeah.
And, when he broke up with me, I'm like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
It's felt like wrong. I mean, we've been together for 18 and a half years now, and it's, ups and downs. That's life. But, when he broke up with me, I'm like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah, like how you just kind of know, right?
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm also a big believer in people coming into your life, like, when you need them. And I don't necessarily know if that has anything to do with past lives, but it might. Like, maybe you're naturally gravitated to somebody because they've helped you in the past life or something, and they're supposed to help you get through a certain hurdle. Because I've had a lot of, like, friendships kind of come and go, and there's no really rhyme or reason why they end. Like, people just kind of, like, grow apart or whatever. And
lives change.
Yeah.
Right?
This one girl in particular that I worked with years ago, and, like, we still talk, like, every once in a while now, but I worked with her years ago, and we became very close very fast, like, super, super close within weeks of meeting each other.
Okay.
And it was kind of like, almost, we kind of, like, we're going through the same sort of things. Like, we're kind of both going through breakups at the same time. And it was like, we really kind of helped each other through that. We leaned on each other a lot, and we were super, super close. And then all, like, months went by and whatever, and you just naturally start to kind of grow apart a little bit. And now we don't really talk anymore. Nothing happened for us to not be friends, but it was just kind of a natural progression. Yeah. And I've had, like, a few friendships like that just kind of come and go, and just, like, you can't really say what it is that you stopped being friends. You're still friendly to each other. If I saw her down the street, I'd be like, hey, how are you? You know, like, but yeah. And so I kind of feel like maybe some people come and go into your life, like, to help you learn a lesson or to get through something tough in your life. and then you both kind of just like move on. I don't know.
Well, like you said, if it's like you planned your life.
Yeah.
Same with spouses and or friends that you needed that help with. If you were like, okay, hey, soul A, we're going to meet up at this time because we're supposed to do this together, but then you can go on your own way.
Yeah, you kind of like pre-plan. I don't know.
Do we hang out when we were other souls?
I mean, I think so.
Definitely. Because we were probably witches together. We
probably
both died.
Probably. See, but that's the thing. I think I've told you this. That I am like positive. I feel so strong about this, and I always have felt strongly about this ever since I was a kid. That I was a part of the witch trials. I don't know if it was necessarily the Salem witch trials, because witch trials happen all over.
Oh, all over the world.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was necessarily like the Salem ones, but I have always felt so strongly that I was mixed up in that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's weird, and like that's ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, why would a kid randomly think that? Like, so many things, like, from when I was a kid, like, why would a kid randomly think that, oh, she was a witch and was hung in the witch trials, like, in her past life? Like, that's not normal. You know? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you guys were big into, like, horror movies.
I wasn't when I was a kid, though.
You weren't?
No.
Your mom was,
I was
though?
scared of everything. My mom was, but I was scared of everything. I was scared of Goosebumps when I was a kid. No. I never started getting into, like, scary stuff until I was, like, older teenager, probably, like, 16.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was scared of everything.
I'm scared of everything now. I don't know. I mean, we could keep going and going with all these theories, but, like, I feel the same way that I lived in a different place in a different time. And like, I think there's a chance that at one point I was a boy, you know, and I don't know how or why I feel that way, but it's not like I want to be a boy now. Yeah,
no, I kind of get, like, you have I don't want to say you have a masculine energy, but you kind of do a little bit. Like, you have more of a
abrasive sometimes.
Yeah, and so I can see that. Maybe in the last life that you lived, maybe you were like a strong, powerful man or something. Maybe you were a king.
Darn tootin'.
Who knows? Yeah.
That's why I always like it. I want to be in control. I want to be the boss. Yeah. And I can't stand it when people don't listen to me and they do it wrong. And I know sometimes I've been told this more than a few times that, you know, I've got that resting bitch face. Yeah. Or I walk into a room and I'm just like this. And I wonder, I'm like, why do I think that? Yeah. And it's not like I think that I'm better than everybody, but I'm just like.
Well, why do I act like that sometimes? Yeah.
Look down my nose at you. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting topic, though, that's for sure.
I know when we had talked about this another time, you'd brought up one that really made me think it was about birthmarks and about that's how you died in a previous life.
Yeah.
Either I got shot in the neck because it's round, or I was hung or something.
It could be. Absolutely.
Or someone like cut my head off or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I was Marie Antoinette.
Maybe.
I mean, I like cake. Cake is awesome. But yeah, no, I like the idea of the old souls. Like, do you ever look at your son and think, how long has he been here?
Yeah.
Because with my two sons, my first son, I really feel like he's older than I am.
Yeah.
He's always been, like, and I know my mom said that I was a quiet child and I observed a lot, but I feel like he's that much more observant. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been here a lot longer. And then with my younger son, he's still an older soul, but not as old as myself and my first son. But I don't know about Jamie. Like, he's an old soul, but
Jamie just be running amok. He's a brand new soul, act like a fool.
Fat Chris Pratt. But, you know,
he's there trying to corral him.
Yeah, like, I feel like he's, like, the same age as Tom, like, smart, yet not as...
Well, and that might be, you know, that might be true. Maybe you've gone around, like, 10 times, and maybe he's gone around once or twice, you know? Who knows? I know that I, like, with my dad because my dad and I always had such a strange relationship. It was always like, even when I was a kid, it was more of almost that I was the parent and he was the kid.
I also had that feeling with my dad.
Yeah. And it was like I would be trying to talk sense into him, like, you know.
Yes, I've corrected my dad a lot.
Yeah, and you're just like, it felt like the opposite. It always felt like we took on different roles. So I really believe that in a past life, maybe I was his mom, like opposite, you know.
Or he was still so new as a soul.
Yeah.
That he needed more help than you did.
That's possible too.
Right?
Who knows? Who knows?
Hard to say.
It's so hard to say. But yeah, I just find it's really weird that some people that you meet for the first time, you get a genuine connection with, that you feel like you've known them longer. Whereas, you know, that same day you could meet somebody else that you don't get that feeling with.
That's true. Yeah. Do you ever feel like your dreams kind of play into where your life was before?
Yeah, I do. I think dreams are so strange. That's another, like, we should read a book about dreams. Like, dreams are so weird.
I love dreams.
Yeah.
I remember a lot about my dreams.
Yeah. I kind of sometimes feel, not necessarily that my dreams have something to do with my past, but sometimes I feel that my dreams are trying to tell me something about what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, mine do all the time. Yeah.
Like maybe kind of pointing the way, or like trying to let you know you're on the right track, sort of thing.
Well, because I started a new job in January, in like November, December, I had this strange dream about a train. I don't work with trains. My husband doesn't work with, yours does, but you know, like, my kids don't play with trains. I'm not around trains, so I didn't watch a show about trains, but I was on this train and everything was awesome. And then I went and read like a little dream definition, and it was saying that, if you're on the train and it's moving forward and you're happy and everything, you're on the right track. Yeah. And I was just in the process of getting this new job, so all like the criminal record checks and whatnot. Right. And doing all the testing to get this new job. And it's when I read that it was like, that says that you're on the right track. Like, if the train had fallen off the tracks, then something's not quite right. And I was like, no, I am on the right track. Another similar career-wise dream, when we worked together, and I was like, I hate it here, but I don't know what to do. I had a dream that my house was on fire and nobody seemed to care. Like, my husband was home, my kids were at home, and I'm like, holy cow, you guys! The house is on fire! And they're like, yeah, we'll call the fire department later. Like, let's go! Come on! I'm trying to, like, get them out of the house, and, like, the roof is fully engulfed in flames. Like, you guys! I'm trying to call, like, 911, and I can't work my phone because it's a dream in life, right? And then, when I looked that up, it was, you're unhappy with something, an aspect of your life, you need to get out. Wow. And it was, and then the next day I started looking for jobs, and I got that job at the bank. Yeah. So, like, I think for sure my dreams, and again, fire. I've never been in a house fire. I've never even had like a super close call. House fire. Yeah. So why would I dream that?
You remember my orange baby dream?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell them the story about my orange baby dream. So,
which is awesome.
So funny. I had this dream. This was years ago. Now, I was in a back and forth relationship. Like, we were on again, off again, but we had been together for a few years, and it was just like, we were basically trying to make this relationship work, and it just wasn't working. And at that time, so I had that situation going, but I was also starting to launch my own business. I have like my nail business. I was just starting to do that. And so I just like did it part-time, but I was just getting that off the ground. So those two things were going on. And I had this dream that I was all of a sudden in labor. I had no idea I was pregnant. I was all of a sudden in labor, and my mom was there. And I just remember telling her, like, I'm not going to tell him, my boyfriend, about this. Like, I'm just taking off. I don't want nothing to do with him. I'm not even going to let him know this happened. And I give birth to this baby. And it's an orange. Like, an orange that you peel and eat. It's an orange. And I'm like dressing this baby up. And my mom had to show me Instead of having to change its diaper, you had to change its peel.
See, our minds are
Yeah.
powerful.
And I was like panicking, being like, I'm not going to be able to take care of this orange baby. And I said, like, orange baby.
Because obviously you knew
orange baby.
in your dream, yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going on. And I remember the next day I went to work and I was telling one of the ladies that I worked with. Now, this lady that I worked with, she does a lot of like Reiki and she can like read auras and stuff like that. And she has a separate business that's about that. And I'm just like laughing my ass off telling her about this dream. And she's like, that's not that funny. She's like, I'll tell you what your dream was. And I'm like, okay. And she said that orange is the color of creativity. So the fact that you had an orange, you know, like she's like, you're starting your new nail business, right? Which is a creative endeavor. She's like, that's your creative baby. You're birthing this, you know, baby into the world. You're, you know, and she's like, and obviously the rest, like about your failing, you know, about your relationship, like you're going through a time. That's one's just obvious, right? But yeah, the whole orange thing. And she explained that to me. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense, you know, like it's so weird how our minds just interpret stuff like that.
And then when you did have a baby, what kind of blanket did I get you?
She got me an orange blanket.
And I made it myself, and it was awful.
We still have it. Holden loves that blanket.
Oh, no, wait. I made my mom make that one, because I did start one, and it was awful. It was too awful. My kid has that one. No.
My kid has that.
My kid has that one. The one my mom made.
Yeah.
But when she was like, what kind of blanket should we make for Holly? I'm like, orange!
An orange one.
Has to be orange. Really ugly. Yeah, that was good.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I feel like our dreams really tell us a lot. And then every now and then, I'll have dreams that I'll really wake up and go, I was there before.
Yeah, really.
And you know what I mean? Like you feel like you're at home and you've been there before.
I don't think I've had a dream like that. I don't think I have. I've had a dream where I've woken up and wished that I could go back to that spot. Like even if it's not even a...
Was it a sex dream?
Well, I'm sure I've had those too. But... like even if you're just like in a normal house or something like that, I've had a dream and wish that I could go back there. And it's not, I mean, it's not like a huge mansion where you're like, sweet, I want to like, you know, live here. But it's a place where you feel like comfortable. So I've had that. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Maybe. I don't know. The only thing about the book too that they pointed out that was interesting now that I'm thinking of it is that the reason why they went to all these like Asian countries and over on that side is because reincarnation is an integral part part of their religion and part of their regular beliefs. So it's so accepted so that when a child does say, oh, you're not my mom, or I remember living down this street, it is accepted and they go, oh, okay, tell me more. Whereas on the Western side, where they only talk to like 2 people that actually had parents that accepted this information. Yeah. On the Western side, they'd be like, yep, sure, you're a kid. You're just silly. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And then the kids forget about it, right? Right. It's not nurtured. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. So I think that's part of why maybe now, even like you said with YouTube and stuff, that there's more information, more people talking about it because we're expanded our view of the world and it's not just limited to religion and one side or the other. Whereas I think when they were doing this research, it was still a little bit more... it wasn't as accepted. Yeah, and exposed even. Yeah. Like a lot of westernized areas weren't even aware of this aspect of their religion. But vaguely, right? So, I wonder if we all were so open to this information that maybe we would discover more... I'm sure we stories would. And be able to corroborate it because it's different to say that I was the princess in my last life. Right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Prove it, princess. Right. So that's I think part of it is they were able to say, okay, well your past life was only 15 years ago. Right. This person died 15 years ago. Yeah. And now you're back. Yeah. Whereas we've read other ones, or even at the beginning of the book where they did that research and this lady is like, oh, I was in Egypt and I was a princess. Yeah. Sure you were. Well, and that's another thing that they talked about in the book too, is that a lot of times people don't believe in reincarnation because
a lot of the, you know, stories that come out about it are like, I was a king, I was a princess, I was this, I was famous, I was this. There's never anybody that comes out and was like, yeah, I was a laborer and died at 35 of exposure. You know what I mean? Like, just a random.
I was a grave digger.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of people that come out and say like stuff like that. It's all these big fantastical stories of these amazing lives that they had in the past. And like one of the reasons that they said that, why did they say that?
Well, they did that one study, and it was this woman was hypnotized.
Right.
And they were like, no, you can't corroborate any of this.
Yeah. Where the fuck was I going with that?
I don't know. About the famous and whatever lives?
Yeah. I can't remember now what they said. Well, even just like in the book, is that a lot of these stories that were in the book was just like common everyday people.
Yeah.
And that's what was kind of good about this book, is that they did just have examples just like that of just somebody was like, yeah, I died in a car crash. I was a young guy. Just a young guy. Yeah. I died in a car crash, and he wasn't trying to like make himself to be this huge person. So it almost makes it more believable when it's somebody like that just says
someone who lived down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the next town. Well, and then even in that research too, all the kids that said that they had been reincarnated died violent deaths.
Right.
Like that one woman was shot by her husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And then the little girl is like, that's why my stomach hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I died by that tree.
Yeah.
You know? And
so crazy.
And the car accident, and I think there was another one too.
I wonder how that happens. To like, how and why do some people remember? Like, if it's just kind of a glitch in the system, like a glitch in the matrix sort of thing that you're not really supposed to remember, but somehow there's just some sort of glitch and you remember.
See, and I think they mentioned something to that effect in the book about that. It's a theory that because it was such a traumatic death, that there's this little gap. Yeah. And somehow it lets them remember. Right. Whereas if we die as per our plan
of old age,
or if you plan your life to learn certain lessons and your soul knows it's going to go at this time, it just accepts the plan, whatever it might be, and then your soul moves on. Right. Whereas if all of a sudden something unforeseen happens, then
that makes total sense, actually.
Which, if that's the case, can't plan everything.
It's true. Yes. Well, yeah, and that is part of it too, right? Like, you can outline your life, but I mean, stuff can happen.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. And you don't know if you play a part in someone else's plan,
right?
And they don't tell you.
Exactly. That's like, for an example, like somebody would say, well, what would be the point in having, like, say maybe somebody has a baby and the baby dies like within a couple of days? Well, why would that baby plan its life to die in a couple of days? Well, maybe it's not about the baby's plan. Maybe it's about the mother's plan or
the father's plan. The kids.
Maybe they were meant to have
this traumatic
thing happen. Like, I don't know.
Part of their lesson.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows?
We're not scholars.
Yeah, these are just theories, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of. I mean, it was an interesting book in the fact that it gave stories, but and
it invoked this great conversation.
That's right.
Yes.
Anyways, let us know in the comments down below what your theories on life are. Like, let's get deep.
Were we witches?
Probably. Anyways, you guys, thanks for hanging out with us today, and we will see you in our next video. Bye.